cash controversy involving the Delhi High Court Judge Justice Yashvant Verma is getting bigger. The Chief Justice of India has constituted a 3-member committee for conducting an inquiry into the allegations that cash was found. And look at the video. It shows very clearly the burnt cash that had been found at the residence. Times Now has accessed the report that the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court had submitted to the Chief Justice of India regarding the entire matter. Now, in this report, the Chief Justice has attached a report from the Delhi Police Commissioner. This categorically mentions that half-burnt sacks of cash were seen in the storeroom of Justice Varma's official residence, where the fire was reported and then later doused. Now, look at what this report says. It says very clearly, in the said room, after the fire was brought under control, 4 to 5 half-burnt sacks were found containing remnants of Indian currency. So remember, the group editor-in-chief, Navika Kumar, was the first to break the explosive news that burnt sacks filled with wads of cash were found in the storeroom located near Judge Varma's residence.
Well, breaking news coming in to us this time is the blockbuster breaking news. Let's tell you what really happened on the night of Holi and the unholy charges that followed. The judge's family called the Tughlaq Road police station on 14th March and reported a fire. The police reached the house of the judge and went to the outhouse behind the main residence area. In the storeroom, they found sacks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, not one or two, but several sacks of notes that had been stored in that storeroom. Several sacks. Please note, several sacks. And sources have revealed that so many sacks could not have any less than 45 to 50 crore rupees. Half of these notes seem to be half burned. Some sacks were damaged. The police recovered, and there was mobile footage that was recorded. This mobile video of sacks and burnt notes was sent to the top cops. Simultaneously, the fire services who had been called by the police arrived and then doused the fire. The police informed the topmost levels of the government following which this entire issue and the video was forwarded to the Collegium of the Supreme Court. We understand that some family members of Justice Yashvant Verma were standing when the police arrived, witness to those sacks of notes that were available, but due to the fire they were asked to go inside the main residence, and then the police took this entire material into their custody. So far, no decision has been taken on the transfer of this judge, but sources say that the cash to the tune of 45 to 50 crores was found in that outhouse, which had caught fire due to a short circuit. In fact, since the news of that fire has come out, the judiciary has been on fire, in a manner of speaking.
So there's no official record of the amount of cash that has been found, but look at the visuals on the screens. Several sacks of cash, half burnt, found at the official residence of a judge. Now, it's estimated to be about 45 to 50 crore rupees. Imagine the outrage and the action that would have followed if it was anyone else. If it was not a judge, imagine what would have happened then, which is what has prompted questions. Is the judiciary above public scrutiny? Is it above any action being taken or not? Advocate Atul Jain joining us on the broadcast. Advocate Kapil Sankla also on the broadcast with us. Before that, let me introduce our reporters joining us, Bhavtosh Singh as well as Priyank Tripathi on the broadcast with us. Bhavtosh, a lot of questions have been raised, especially considering that the official version has been completely different. First, on the transfer, and second, on the money being found as well. Initially, officials saying that there was no unusual activity, no cash had been found, after which they conceded that yes, cash had been found. And now video evidence that shows several sacks, all of it being found at the official residence of the judge.
Yes, Pratibha. In fact, the first statement that was issued by the Supreme Court did not even mention the word cash, and that in fact led to a lot of controversy. They in fact started the press statement with the word quote-unquote misinformation, and that in fact led to many questioning the news report that whether cash has been seized in the first place or not. Now, they also in fact said that the two issues should be delinked, the transfer of the judge and also the inquiry that has been set up. Now, yesterday, I think better sense prevailed, and the Supreme Court in fact put out the inquiry report out in open and also uploaded the video. But importantly, what has happened in this case is that they have now kept the transfer on in abeyance. Now, it means that the judge would not be transferred till the completion of the inquiry report. Now, Allahabad High Court Bar Association has already said that this judge would not be, they would not accept this judge. They won't welcome this judge because there are charges, or there are at least allegations of alleged recovery of cash from his residence. What is also has led to a lot of opaqueness as far as this case is concerned is the complete silence on the part of the Delhi police. Delhi police have said that no article has been seized from his residence, and the fact remains that a huge amount of at least burnt cash notes or cash has been seized, and the manner in which the allegations have now been levelled is that something has been removed from his residence. Justice Verma, and rightly so, has said that this thing has not been recovered from his residence. This is his claim. So it requires further investigation. A panel has been set up. Will it lead to some kind of criminal investigation? One has to wait and see. So there is this case has just started, or this controversy has in fact now become bigger. One has to wait and see what will happen next in next few days.
And has action followed after the massive outrage? Because initially he had been transferred. The Supreme Court says that it was unrelated to the probe, whereas the Delhi High Court Chief Justice says that it was an advice that had come in from the Supreme Court. These questions still remain. Priyank, now an inquiry has been ordered into the case, but there are also questions of whether there was a delay in the investigations, whether there was a delay in action being initiated against him, and whether now the inquiry being ordered as well is coming after the outrage across the country.
Certainly, Pratibha, three-member sitting judges inquiry committee will be looking into this matter, which has been initiated by the CJI's office, which will include the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court, Justice Sheel Nagu. Then you have G.S. Sandhuwalia, who's Chief Justice of Himachal High Court, as well as Anu Shivaraman, who is a judge from the Karnataka High Court. But I would say that the delay in the inquiry was not there. The delay was to keep hiding the information to come into public domain. But after immense pressure which grew up over the period of last 48 hours, certainly the Supreme Court finally decided to upload this particular inquiry committee report, which was submitted to them by the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, Justice Upadhyaya. From now onwards, what we can expect that a detailed inquiry will be trying to take the report from the Delhi police. Part of the report has already been given to them as a part of the video evidence. But the Delhi Fire Department was also very ironically, trying to hide this particular information by repeatedly not documenting anything on record. And Bhartosh has also stated Delhi police also does not have any kind of freezer memo. So dual standard has certainly been there in case of powerful people and those individuals who could have been found in this kind of situation. Yes, we know it for the fact that the Delhi police had to seek permission from the sitting judge of the Delhi High Court so that the inquiry can be initiated against the sitting judge. But the fact of the matter is that this kind of delay has certainly harmed the investigation in the due course of time.
And are laws different for all? That's a question that has been raised. Is it different for different people? Do laws not apply equally to all? If this is a High Court justice, does that mean that law will not apply to him? These are the questions that have been raised, with questions in fact being raised on the entire judiciary, because it's no longer about this individual case. Atul Jain, as a member of the legal community, there are so many questions that have now been raised on what actually happened. Why is it that action was not taken? Are you happy with the action that was taken, or do you believe that the public has every reason to doubt the opaqueness, every reason to doubt whether there was a cover-up, to raise these questions on what happened? Why is still so much mystery around this entire case?
See, first of all, let us see, the person about whom we are discussing today is a sitting High Court judge. And if you are saying that nobody is above law, then you're absolutely right. But kindly see, When you're talking about a sitting High Court judge, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has come into action. The videos, the inquiry reports, everything is in public domain. So there is absolutely no ground to say that there is any hush hush up in these proceedings.
Okay.
There could not have been more transparent proceedings, more transparent inquiry than by putting everything in the public domain.
Okay, I'll tell you why these questions come in. I'll tell you why these questions come in. The Supreme Court first was the fact that the incident took place a week ago and it came into light only just about 2 days ago. Apart from that, there are so many questions because initially the officials said that there was no unusual activity, no cash was found. And look at the visuals on the screen now. They show the wads of cash that had been found, burned cash at a judge's residence. And that's the reason you mentioned he's a sitting judge. And that's all the more reason why these questions continue. Where is this cash coming from? What was it meant for? It's clearly unaccounted cash. He claims that he had no information about it. Now, on the question of what the Supreme Court has said, the Supreme Court says that he was transferred to the Allahabad High Court, but it was unrelated to the case. Then look at the statement that has come in from the Delhi High Court Chief Justice. He says very clearly that the transfer was taken up because the Supreme Court said so. This is why these questions come in. Kapil Sankla, do you agree that with what he has said, that there is absolute transparency? Why are we even questioning it? But look at the details of the case. They very clearly show that there are different versions coming in from different agencies.
Right. Just give me 1 minute now, please. If these allegations are false, then they undermine judiciary. Then they question why people have been after a particular judge or judiciary in question. But if this issue, what has happened is correct, and the wads of notes have been found out, then please understand what would have happened if those notes were found in your house, in the house of any minister, in the house of any IAS officer. What action would have been taken? And if no FIR had been registered, in 24 hours, the Commissioner of Police perhaps might have been hauled up. There would have been public outcry. You would be praying for the blood of that IAS officer, that minister, that common man, whosoever. And therefore I say this, that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. What is good for A is also good for B. It does not matter whether you're a judge, whether you're an IAS officer, whether you're a minister, whether you're a politician. But we are all scared, aren't we? That there is contempt of court, that I might say something or you might say something and we might be hauled up in court. And so we have to be very careful, including Mr. Jain, including Mr. Sankla, because we are all afraid to question any act of judiciary. And now the second point of my argument. The concerned person denied there was any cash till videos and photographs were released. The Honorable Supreme Court stated in the beginning, saying that nothing of this sort happened and that we are transferring him to Allahabad, disjointed to these allegations. Now, these unfortunately, supposedly, as far as I know, looking at what what has been shown here and what you have said, has been turned out to be false. In such a case, in any criminal case, and Mr. Jain would also agree, that an opportunity is given to an accused at any stage to make a statement.
Yes.
And if that statement is turned out to be false, then that is one of the, so to say, the nail in his coffin as to say that he lied when an opportunity was given him to explain a certain fact.
Absolutely.
Now, the third part of it, very, very quickly.
Go on.
That as far as law is concerned, you cannot keep more than X, if I'm not mistaken, 20,000 or whatever, or any reasonable amount of money. And if cash is found, strict action will be taken against you, dehors whether you can explain that cash or not.
Okay, so let's give the version of Justice Verma as well. He claims in his statement that he has nothing to do with the cash that has been found. He claims that this was at a storeroom at his residence. He was not aware of it, and that the storeroom was also left unlocked. This is at the official residence of a sitting judge. Does it not raise questions? Atul Jain, there are already so many questions on the opaqueness of the judiciary. There are calls for transparency, questions on collegium, on the entire legal system that come in at a time like that when you have so much cash. And to answer this question, just put things in perspective, like it has been mentioned time and again. What if it was not a judge? What if it was another person? Would there not be questions? Where did this money come from? Is this the tip of the iceberg? There would be some accountability that's sought. Why is it that when it comes to a judge, these questions cannot be asked, or you're saying that the benefit of doubt should be given?
No, I am not for a moment saying that the benefit of doubt should be given. That is not the version that I am putting at all. But the questions are bound to be there, and questions are here as well. The legal fraternity is having so many versions. We all as lawyers, you all as media persons, you are having your own versions. But see, if at all we forget for a moment that he is a sitting High Court judge and some amount of cash, maybe 30 crores, somebody was saying yesterday some 700 crores, whatever it is, maybe 1 crore has been found at a residence of somebody, maybe not a High Court judge, then also there is a proper procedure in CRPC. There is a proper procedure under Supreme Court guidelines as to how the entire issue is to be resolved. The procedure is to be followed first, and then you see. I mean, just by giving media statements, the press releases, we cannot book a person.
No, but what is the procedure? I mean, look at the first action that was taken. He was transferred to Allahabad High Court, so much so that the Bar Association from Allahabad High Court said that we are not a trash bin. It causes that kind of anger. This is a judge who has been accused of corruption going by the amount of money that has been found. You're saying he is not fit to be in the Delhi High Court. Then how can you transfer him to the Allahabad High Court?
See, let us not put it like this. As far as I understand, transfer back to the parent High Court is by way of a reward, I would say, because parent High Court is always welcome by any judge for that matter. So transfer should not be considered. Transfer to parent court should not be considered as a way of punishment, at least to say. So this transfer should not be in any manner connected with what has happened. And what has Allahabad High Court Bar Association said, that is their own prerogative. But by no means this transfer can be said that he has been punished by being transferred
But this
back to his
action
parent
followed
court.
after the details came out. In fact, we've told you very clearly, the Supreme Court says that it was unrelated. But if you look at the statement, this is the official statement of the Delhi High Court Chief Justice. Kapil Sankla, the Delhi High Court Chief Justice says very clearly that this action was taken after the Supreme Court had said it. And this is a note from the 21st. So look at the timeline of events. Now the Supreme Court says that it was unrelated, but the note from the Delhi High Court Chief Justice on the 21st says very clearly that the transfer took place after the Supreme Court had asked him to be transferred, which means that there was information of the cash that was found at his residence. That was an inquiry that was to be ordered, and yet the action that was chosen to be taken was a mere transfer, nothing else.
You're absolutely right. And also Mr. Jain is right that usually sending somebody to his parent High Court is more of a reward than a punishment. And as much as I have absolute faith in Justice Verma, because I've appeared before him, I believe that he's a person of high integrity. But the question is that recently there were allegations about the CBI case where his name perhaps cropped up. I'm not too sure, but this is the rumor mill that had told me. Also, there were strong questions as to the seniorship that took place in the High Court, where he was one of the relevant players, so to say, a deciding factor, and much questions had been raised. So once you have three disconnected allegations against a judge, then merely by holding an inquiry and transferring him to another court perhaps would not be the correct optics as far as punishing or challenging a person's conduct is concerned. Now, you're absolutely right that if it would have happened against, and let's say what happens with this judge is, why not the Chief Justice of the High Court permit registration of an FIR so proper investigation can take place as would have taken place against everybody. I question you this, that if Justice Verma is above board, just like Caesar's wife, and I believe that he is, then why shy away and why try to brush it under the carpet? Because the moment you do that, the fear of common man comes true that perhaps judiciary is now below and not above the moral turpitude that we're facing all over the nation.
Absolutely. Like we've been saying time and again, this is not about this one particular case, but this is going to raise questions on the entire judiciary, and which is why exemplary action should be taken after an investigation into the same. Atul Jain and Kapil Sankla, thank you for joining us with your perspective on the same. With that, we're slipping into a short break here. We'll be right back.